What's up YouTube, Daryl here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you a budget Fire King Sinful Spoils deck. Now I've classed it as a Sinful Spoils bit because there is one more card of Sinful Spoils than there is Snake Eyes. But if you want to class this deck as a budget Snake Eyes build, you could do that as well. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. At the end of the video, I'll also show you the combo that involves the Sinful Spoil engine, just so you can kind of see what it gets you and how you can maximize it in this particular build. So with all of that out of the way, we're going to dive head first into the profile, starting off with the Fire King cards. So for the Fire King cards, of course, we are playing triple Ponix, triple Kirin, double Garunix, and the one difference in this build is we are playing 2 Avatar. Now just through more and more testing with Avatar, I kind of felt that it was a better card to have multiples of rather than the Barong. Because what I quite like the ability for was usually more times than not is when I was destroying Kirin, I was reviving the Avatar. And then Avatar would revive the Barong, and then Barong would then search me out of Kirin for the next turn. So I'll just be able to loop my own resource, just being able to bring the Barong back from the graveyard without needing to clog it down in the main deck. Not to mention that the Avatar has that nice monster effect negation ability, which does give you a nice edge as well. In order to search these out and become free fodder for the Sinful Spoils original Sin card, we are playing triple Fire King Tenki as well. So obviously these all came in Fire King Tenki, Fire Formation Tenki. These all came in the structure deck alongside double Fire King Island and triple Fire King Sanctuary. Another card that is not that bad to be sending with your Sinful Spoils. Yes, you can only activate 1 Sanctuary per turn, but just because you're going to fall back and you're not really going to always want to rely on this, when you're making your link plays, you might mainly want to be drawing into your hand traps and everything else, so you can actually utilize the Sanctuary to be sent off the board. So the last kind of Fire King cards that I play is the 1 Circle of the Fire King. I just like this as a nice way to dodge a bit of targeted abilities while also being able to revive cards from the graveyard. And technically, if you play this right, this can become a combo that can lead you into a rank 8 because you can activate Circle, destroy any of your fire monsters, and then you get to revive a fire monster from the graveyard, which can be a level 8 Kirin. And then of course Garunix, because a fire was destroyed, would then be able to revive itself as well. So you're going to get 2 for the price of 1. And then of course we do play the 1 Fire King Skyburn. This card's just nutty, to be honest. Such a good card. The quick play effect is absolutely amazing. I thought it was a little bit restricted back when I first saw it, but I was like, you know what, the more and more I've played it, it's actually just insanely powerful. A lot of opponents are really afraid of it as well. So moving on to the Snake Eyes / Original Sin or Sinful Spoils, however you want to do it. We are playing the 1 Flameberg, so this is currently £14 on eBay. So you can probably pick up a little bit cheaper from online stores and everything else. You got Ash, which is £2 a copy. And this is the final warning you guys are going to get, because if I do a future profile involving this card and you're like, oh, it's no longer this amount, it's now this amount, you need to be picking up your original Sinful Spoils Snake Eyes. Whether you are maxing out of it, whether you are playing budget and you only want to play 1, it is always worth having a playset of this card. Now originally, when I did showcase these and I said as a budget option you should be able to pick up 3, they were £2.50 a card. They are now £6 a card, because obviously the balance has happened and more budget players getting into Fire Kings have realised that playing 3 of this without needing to spend £25 on a Dia Bellstar or the £70 on the Wanted is a nice alternative. Like when you can get all 3 of these, or technically you get all of this for the same price as 1 Dia Bellstar, which is a no-brainer. Now the way this all works is you ideally want to be using your original Sinful Spoils Snake Eyes to get you to Ash. Ash will search you out Ponix. Ponix can then become your normal summon, and that then gives you your Sanctuary. Then what you can do is you can use Snake Eyes Ash to get rid of the Ponix and itself to summon down the Flameberg. You would then be able to use the Sanctuary that you searched off of your Ponix to activate that, to use Fire King Island to destroy the Flameberg. Flameberg would then of course be able to revive back the Ash, and it will allow you to revive back the Ponix. And then you'll also be able to summon down the Garunix you've just searched. From those 3 cards, what you end up doing is you end up going into a Salaman Great Sunlight Wolf, and I'll show you all this at the end of the video. So you go into a Salaman Great Sunlight Wolf, you then turn either your Ash or of course your Ponix into a Link Karibo, trigger Sunlight Wolf to add back either the Ash or the Ponix to the hand, and then you get to link both of those into a Heat Soul Talker, pay 1,000 life points, draw a card, pass your opponent, pay 1,000 life points, draw another card. So from in the original play, when you are playing the Dia Bellstar engine and everything else, it's a 1 card combo. In this one, it's a 2 card combo, but it's very easily done. And then the final one little spicy card that I quite like the idea of, because if you've already got access to the Ponyx and you actually want to search out a different level 1 fire, of course, when you are not restricted by budget, you will be searching out something like Kurakara. I thought it was kind of funny to search out a card called Link Apple. Now this is a super rare that came out in Dummer, and you get to reveal this card in the hand to banish face up a random face down card from your extra deck, and then special summon this card if the banished card was a Link monster. Otherwise, you discard this card and draw a card. So it's either going to be a nice free draw, or it's going to become a free summon. Now, when you have a quick preview of the extra deck, we have 13 Link monsters, okay? You can double up any of them if you really want to increase the consistency of Link Apple, but it's just another route that could get you all the way into your Heat Soul Talker play to give you more draws if you wanted to, or it's just a full back draw. So, searching off Snake Eyes, you've already got Ponyx, you don't really want to search out a secondary Ponyx, so you can search out another fire monster, so you can destroy it if you want to with card effects, that can give you a draw or a summon. And then the remaining 15 cards, yeah, I know, unbelievable, are going to be hand traps. So for the hand traps, we are playing triple Ash Blossom, alongside triple Dryland Lockbird, double Nibiru, double DD Crow, and then of course triple Imperm. Now, these can be a mixture of any card you want. I said 15, it's not 15 because I'd made a change at the last minute. Good maths. It's 13 cards because I took out, I was playing Forbidden Droplet, but I took them out. So these can be anything. These can be board breakers, they can be Veilers, they can be Ghost Ogres, Ghost Reapers if you really want to be extra spicy and the format becomes very Link heavy, because then you just play multiple Link monsters that you don't really care much about. But yeah, this kind of covers everything you need to. So the idea is Heat Soul Talker draws you into these and then you're good to go. Now, of course, you want to make it budget in a different way, you can go down the Dogmatica route, but I've already shown you that, so I thought I'd show you this version instead. So as you'll see, our extra deck will be a little bit more Link focused, but the idea behind that is not only to kind of cater for the Link Apple, but it's also going to give you, most of your cards are going to be Link focused anyway. So for the XYZs, we've got the one Garunix Eternity, just for that board wipe capabilities, and then do have the Ding. I think Ding is just a great option to protect your cards from destruction, as well as that send effect is actually really important in the mirror match. Because they have loads of different ways to kind of protect everything from being destroyed, sometimes you will need cards that just don't target and don't destroy, and Ding's send ability is that best one for you, especially in a deck that you can very easily pump out rank 8s. So for the Link monsters, starting from our Link 1s all the way up, of course you do play the one Salamangreat Almirage, Relinquish Anima, and Link Karibo. I actually really value this card quite highly now, because a lot of people are getting a little bit lapsical in concentration and they are putting monsters in front of the extra monster zone, and you're like, I don't know if they realise this. Okay, and then you go into Relinquish Anima and it really does cause them a lot of issues. Link Karibo is the Cyverse that you need to go into in order to work your way up to Heat Soul Talker, and then Almirage is pretty straightforward. It's a way that you can turn a normal summon monster into a fire monster and then go from there. For our Link 2s, of course, we do play the Heat of the Fire Charmer Ablaze. This is obviously probably the most consistent one in comparison to Dark for this deck, for the pure fact that a lot of people are running Ash, if not 99% of the Yu-Gi-Oh community, I would say, are running Ash, so you always have a very viable target to revive from the graveyard. Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf, and like I mentioned, you can actually double up any of these cards if you really want to make sure you don't hit them off of Apple, but I just kind of want to show you a range of what you can utilise. Nightmare Phoenix. And then one card that I really do like in this deck is Pit Knight Earl. The reason this is so good is because if you have this summoned and you were to destroy it with your Garunix, it will come back. If you were to destroy it with Fire King Island, it will come back. You're basically having a card that will constantly keep floating, which is really nice, and then has the ability to negate effects on the board as well, which is absolutely awesome because its link zones are actually really important, because it can either be pointing towards a link monster in your extra monster zone, or it could be pointing to any of your monsters in the main monster zone, which is really important. So for those of you that are unfamiliar with Pit Knight, it basically, when a monster this card points to, activates its effect, so it doesn't need to be a specific type or anything like that. You gain a quick effect to target an effect monster your opponent controls, and until the end of this turn, changes its attack to 0 and negates effects. And then during the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was destroyed by battle or card effect and sent there this turn, you get to special summon it. You can only use each effect once per turn. So you constantly basically need to destroy this card twice, and you need to destroy it during the end phase. So really do like this card. IP Masquerena into Nightmare Unicorn, just because SP Little Knight, £100. IP Masquerena Unicorn, probably about £10. Decode Torkar Heat Soul. So obviously the idea behind this, and like I said, I'll show you the combo at the end so you know exactly how this works. but you're going to try and regain some resource through minimal investment, and then you're going to use Heat Soul to draw into more cards that will hopefully either allow you to extend your board, give you more fires in your hand as destruction fodder, and ideally trying to build into more hand traps as well. And then for the final cards, we've got the 1 towers in the form of Mech Knight Crusader Avramax. Especially if you make this off the back of IP Masquerena, it can be incredibly difficult to deal with. It's also another way that rather than going to Heat Soul Talker, if you decide, you know what, I've got all the cards in my hand I want, I don't want to draw anymore or burn my life points because we're going into close to time, you actually just get another monster on the board, and then as long as it's from the extra deck, you go into Avramax. So really nice card option there. Appaloosa as your defensive option, which is probably the second most expensive. I believe these are like £8 to £10 now. Crazy. And then Borrelsword as your all-in-all outright aggressor. Of course, you can consider more rank 8s if you wanted to, but I wanted to kind of focus on the Link monsters. I wanted to give you the variety of your towers, your protector, and your aggressor, so you've kind of got the options around that. Obviously, when budget is not restriction, you have stuff like Access Code Talker and other cards that you can utilize to the max. So that's it for the entire profile. I hope this has given you a couple of ideas on your own build and how the very minimalized Sinful Spoil engine can work. Like I said, at the moment, original Sinful Spoils, the last time I checked, was £5 a copy on eBay. Prior to that, £2.50 a copy. So it's definitely on the up and up. It is highly a card, or it's a card that I highly recommend you get hold of, just because it technically acts as a summon for your Ponix, but it can also move into your Ashes if you want to as well. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to reset the board state, and I'll show you that combo, how you can utilize the Sinful Spoil engine on a budget in this build and draw you into more cards. So back in a second. The 2-card combo consists of course, original Sinful Spoils. Now, the reason that the Dia Bellstar engine is so much better is because it does have that consistency, but then when you're comparing, like I've already said, £25 for the entire engine, or £200 plus, just to add a little bit of consistency, when you're budget restricted, what are you going to go for? So you need to open up 1 copy of your original Sinful Spoils, and then all you need is a card that can be sent from the field to the graveyard. So something like your Fire King Island, your Fire King Sanctuary, or of course you can also consider the Tenki, which is why we are playing it in this version. On top of that as well, there are other options that you can already open up with. For example, if you already open up Snake Eyes Ash, if you already open up Link Apple, or if you already open up your legendary Fire King Ponix. Because ideally you want your Ash or your Ponix to be your normal summon. So Snake Eyes will get you to the other one that you don't have. So if you open up one of these already, you can just use it as your normal summon, do everything else you need to do. So in this example right here, what we'll go with is okay, we've opened up the original Sinful Spoils and we'll open up the Ponix. So what you want to start with is you'll start off by normal summoning the Ponix. This of course is going to give you access to your Fire King Sanctuary. You'll activate the Sanctuary, you'll then be able to put Fire King Island into the Spell and Trap Zone, well technically the Field Zone. Now you've got the ability to activate the Sinful Spoils Snake Eyes. Now you can send the Ponix if you want to, because you are going to need to be able to send 2 cards from the field. So you're either sending the Ponix or you're going to send the Sanctuary. You're going to be needing to send 2 regardless. What you'll do here, so let's say we send the Ponix, don't worry, it's going to be coming back anyway, and then you'll go for your Snake Eyes Ash. You'll then be able to use Snake Eyes Ash effect, and this will allow you to add the Link Apple. And this is where Link Apple can become a little bit important, because if you really don't want to send the Sanctuary, you now have the ability to try and summon down the apple and either draw a card as a risk or summon it down. And if you summon it down, good, you can get rid of it, do what you need to. So what you're going to want to do here is we'll play it off as if the apple just stays in the hand, and just to show we've got that additional monster, because then it can also act as the Ponix as well. So what you do here is use Ash's effect, you'll send itself plus the Sanctuary to the graveyard. This will then allow you to get into your Flamebird Dragon. You'll now be able to, if you want to, use Flamebird Dragon to put a monster into the Spell and Trap Zone. That's going to be a little bit more relevant if you were playing the Dia Bellstar Witch, but because we're not doing that, we're going to try and keep it as easy as possible. Now what you're going to do is you're going to want to use the Fire King Island. You're going to want to destroy the Snake Eyes Flamebird Dragon. And of course you're going to go directly for, wherever it may be, your Sacred Fire King Garunix. Now at this point what you've got is you've got the activation of Grunix in the hand, and you've also got the activation of your Snake Eyes Flamebird Dragon. So the best thing about this is this one has the ability that if it is sent from the field or the hand to the graveyard, special summon 2 level 1 fire monsters from your graveyard specifically. Well, welcome back Ash and welcome back Ponix, as well as summoning down the Garunix. Garunix effect will then go off, and of course the one you're going to want to destroy in the deck is going to be your Barong. There we go, destroy the Barong. and that will give you your search for the Kirin during the next turn. Now what you're going to work your way around to is you're going to want to go into a Salamangreat Great Sunlight Wolf, and you're going to work your way up there. So you can link any of these two together, it doesn't matter which one, as long as you leave a level 1 on the board, just to go into your Salamangreat Great Sunlight Wolf. There we go. You're going to put Wolf into the extra monster zone up there. And then what you're going to do is you're going to turn your last level 1. Again, keeping in mind that Link Apple can be used as an extender should you want to. And this is going to go into a Link Karibo. Because a monster is summoned to the zone that your Sunlight Wolf points to, you can now add back any fire monster from your graveyard. Now, ideally, you probably want to keep your Barong and your Garunix in the graveyard, so you're probably going to want to add back one of these 3. Now, personally, keeping in mind as well that your Sinful Spoils can recycle your Ash if you need to, I'm going to go for the Flamebird Dragon, because then during the next turn, as long as these two are both in my graveyard, I can just use Fire King Island to destroy the Flamebird Dragon and bring both of these back again. So you're just kind of looping your own resource. So add the Flameberg back to the hand. And then what you're going to do here is you're going to want to link your Link Karibo and of course your Sunlight Wolf. You're going to put both of those together and you're going to go into your Deco Talker Heat Soul. You're going to pay 1,000 life points, you're going to draw 1 random card, and then you're going to pass to your opponent. Now, during the standby phase of the next turn, you're going to resolve the Barong. Barong is then, of course, going to search you out your Kirin. Now, keeping in mind, again, if you searched out a Ponix rather than the Link Apple on this one, you could activate the Kirin to destroy the Ponix and just loop it around. You've also got the ability of Kirin to destroy the Flamebird Dragon during your opponent's turn now, and that will, of course, bring back Ash to give you a search for a Ponix and a Ponix on the board. So again, you're just building out a bit more of a defensive wall. Not to mention, Garunix will come back as well, and you're also going to be able to pay 1,000 life points to draw 1 off of Heat Soul. Not to mention the remainder of your hand as well, so you would have already had 3 more cards in the hand. So straight away, as you're entering your opponent's turn, you have a total of 8 cards in your hand, which is absolutely insane considering you've drawn 1 during your opponent's turn as well, so you were well within the limit of the hand size. So on this one, if any of those 5, like let's imagine that these are hand traps, the only one that would be like not so great to be drawing would be something like Imperm. And because you haven't got a big board presence, you don't even care if any of those are Nibiru either. You can kind of see what resource you've got here, which is absolutely mental, and kind of go from there. Anyway, I hope this has given you an insight into the combo itself and why the Flameberg and the Ash engine works out really, really nicely. And I do kind of like the way that it goes, because even if you don't go down Heat Soul route, if you were to involve Link Apple and you were to successfully summon it, you can just turn that into a Relinquish Anima, and then you could go Relinquish Anima plus Link Karibo, sorry, you'd have to go into Heat Soul plus the Relinquish Anima and go into an Avramax, or in that exact same scenario, you would have Link Apple, Link Karibo, Deco Talker, and you can go all 3 into a 3 negate Appaloosa. So it's up to you whether you want the negates, whether you want the towers, or if you just want the draws. You've got the best of everything possible. And worst case scenario, let's say they get rid of Fire King Island. It's like, okay, cool. All I've lost is Heat Soul, and I still have the ability for Kirin to summon down, Flameberg to summon back from the graveyard, Garunix to come back from the graveyard, you name it. The only way this combo gets any better is rather than opening up a Ponix, if you opened up something like a Tenki, it would mean that you'd have an additional card to send, meaning that you could keep the Fire King Sanctuary on the board, so you didn't need to burn through that when you played the Snake Eyes route into the Heat Soul combo. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. If you have any questions at all, by all means, please put it in the comments down below. I will be more than happy to answer them for you. But for now, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.